How do you lift a heavy sandbag in a safe, repeatable way that's going to build your back into a formidable force to be reckoned with? Well, if you're new to sandbags and want to learn how to lift a sandbag, the first step is to forget everything you know about traditional lifting with perfectly calibrated weights and that universal saying of lift with your legs, not your back. The sandbag does not have convenient handles on it, and it's not designed to be lifted. So it takes a bit of improvisation to move and control weight that doesn't cooperate easily. In this video, I'm going to share what I know and what I've learned about lifting heavy sandbags off the ground to the lap through countless repetition, shock loading, progressive overload, and building my own technique as the sandbag gets heavier and bulkier. While the focus of this video is on lifting heavier sandbags relative to your strength and body weight, these same principles can be applied to moderate and lighter sandbags if desired as well. There's no right or wrong way to lift a sandbag until it becomes unpredictable and can possibly cause injury. I'm about to talk about technique and a few other concepts that I feel are important about lifting the sandbag. So let's dive in. Lifting a sandbag starts with which approach you decide to take, where to put your feet, lifting with your feet in front of the bag, or lifting from over top of it. I've seen some of you fellow sandbag lifters out there lift heavy with your feet in front of the bag. It's not something I've done with a heavy sandbag, but if it works more efficiently for you, build it and perfect it. The best technique is always the one that works the best for you and that you can consistently repeat over and over. Above all else, it's the kind of thing that you have to play with to find what works the best. Each individual is different regarding height, and me personally, as someone who is 6'2", I prefer to lift from over the top of it, with my feet on the outside of the bag, straddling the bag. Maybe the bag has a farther distance to travel, and that's more efficient to the lap for a taller person compared to a shorter person. I don't know. In this video, I'm going to cover my technique of lifting heavy from under and over top of it because that's the technique I know and I practice every session. It's what's worked for me to be able to pick the heavy sandbag I have to the lap over and over. As the sandbag gets heavier, digging deep under the bag rather than grabbing just under the ends of it allows for more leverage and bringing it up to the lap. Also, keeping the hips low allows you to get as low as possible to set your grip if digging deep under the heavy sandbag before the lift. Dig deep and think about your chest touching the bag as well. Once your grip is set and you're ready, drive your hips up and pull the bag into the center of your body. Once it's over the knees, take a step in with either leg to create a platform out of your lap for the bag to rest on. So to kind of simplify that, feet on the outside of the bag, stand over it, drop your hips, dig under the bag until your elbows touch the ends and your chest is touching. When you're ready, take a deep breath, drive your hips up, and pull the bag towards your core into the center of your body. Once over the knees, take a step in with either leg. Now the sandbag is resting on your lap. This process can apply to horizontal, vertical, and upright picks to the lap as far as technique and getting the bag off the ground. Now that I've explained my technique, I'm going to talk about a few other critical concepts of lifting a sandbag. When I started lifting sandbags coming from traditional ways of lifting with a barbell, I approached lifting a sandbag as a deadlift. If you were to try to lift any kind of heavy sandbag like a deadlift, intending to go to the lap and beyond, it's likely to not be very efficient or effective getting the bag to your lap. Lifting a sandbag in its entirety is a deadlift and a row put together, but more row than deadlift, I believe. The deadlift element is the initial pull off the ground when the hips come up, and the row element is the pulling of the bag to the center of your body. Another thing I want to point out is that when I start the initial pull off the ground, my sandbag flops a bit and changes shape, with the ends going up with a sag in the middle, and that's one reason I lift from over the top, digging in and maximizing the leverage under the bag beforehand. Sandbags tend to shapeshift like an octopus a bit when lifting, depending on how firm they are. Lifting a sandbag off the ground appears to be sketchy from the outside looking in. The obvious rounding of the back appears to be a cocktail for injury. Sometimes, when my shorts of me lifting a sandbag leak into the algorithm of the masses, I get comments about how I'm going to break my back. If that were the case, it would have already happened by now, and I wouldn't be making this video. At this point, I've progressed in being able to lift 200-pound to 300-pound sandbags at every weight in pretty much 10-pound increments in a repeatable fashion. My lower back has felt fine the whole time because I've built the predictable adaptation and body mechanics to lift the sandbag over and over that way, outside of the dogma of traditional lifting and what we've been told all our lives. What actually happens is when the hips go up, I go into the lift. The core, when properly braced, spine erectors, obliques, hamstrings, glutes, quads, upper back, entire posterior chain activate to move the weight. The bag is designed to bear and carry weight and is the strongest group of muscles in the body, not designed to sit in a chair for long periods of time. I get asked sometimes if my lower back ever hurts from doing this. Well, my answer is never. What makes my back and body uncomfortable is being sedentary for long periods of time. That causes a ton of stiffness that I have to wring out with these moves I'm showing right now. The first move is a dead hang. This also keeps your shoulders healthy too. Next, we have banded good mornings. Any kind of lingering stiffness you have, this will wring it out like magic. Then we have a back bridge and a sphinx hold. Both of these are excellent for wringing out any aggravation going on in the spine as well as building mobility. I prefer to grease my grooves with these as needed throughout the day when I can, depending on how I feel at the moment. Another important element is hip mobility and being able to squat and hang out in the ass to grass position. One of the best mobility tools I have is a simple PVC pipe I use for shoulder mobility and total body mobility. A step up from an ass to grass squat would be a full depth overhead squat. Beyond that would be a single arm overhead squat. The overhead squats are a bit harder and might take some time to build, but totally worth it. Me personally, I place a huge emphasis on mobility and recovery. Seems like the fitness world is all about train, PRs. Nah. If you want to do this for a long time and make strength progress, your recovery, mobility, and your body's regenerative capabilities must be on point. What use is being strong if you're constantly locked up and can't move that well? If your purpose is to be functional with strength and fit in everyday life. I think lifting heavy sandbags are awesome. They can be lifted safely in a repeatable fashion. There's nothing really sketchy about them if you develop your technique and take care of the recovery aspect as well. You can make some serious strength progress over time. The technique can carry over to lifting really anything that's not designed to be lifted. If you're out there and struggling with getting a sandbag off the ground, my message to you is keep doing it. Persevere, and it takes time to adapt to the heavy weight. If you're starting out, if you'd like, you can apply these techniques I talked about earlier in the video as well. Many weeks are going to feel the same, but it's necessary because it'll pay off sooner or later. We all struggle to get to where we're at and to be able to do what we can do. Don't give up the fight, and that's all I got. If I missed something and you have anything to add or any questions, leave a comment. If you're still watching at this point, thanks for being here. Keep making it happen, and I'll see you in the next one.